They were once Sarawak's most influential family, built their own bank empire from a small town called Sibu. Multiple licenses, unshakable power.
Wow.
And then it all vanished. Today, most Malaysians don't even remember their name. But bestie, this is legacy tea you need to hear. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Playbook Diary. I'm Hannah, your storytelling bestie. And today, we're diving into the rise and fall of one of Sarawak's most powerful banking empires. Trust me, it's tea worth staying for.
Yes!
Okay, but just so you know, this all happened way before my time. So if you know more than me, help a girl out in the comment section, yeah. And speaking of memories, do you remember this? A chubby piggy bank, blue shirt, yellow hat, holding a money bag. If you grew up in Sarawak, you probably have one of these sitting on your desk. It was everywhere, like today's Labubu craze, a generational flex, but friendlier and way less creepy. Here's the thing, it wasn't just a toy. It came from one of Sarawak's proudest homegrown banks. Growing up, I heard whispers. Did you know Sarawak had its own banks? But where did that bank go? To find out, we need to go back to where it all started. A little riverside town called Sibu, a sleepy riverside town. But beneath the surface, a booming business scene. They call it a cowboy town, not for its horses, but for its wild business spirit. At the center of it all, the Foochows. Frugal, gritty, and unbelievably resourceful. They built empires in timber, shipping, and soon in finance. There's a saying, 小城市故事多. Small town, many stories. It's the kind of place where everyone knows your business. But here's the twist. Foochows don't just gossip. They move together, very kaki lang vibes. They hire each other, support each other, and when one started something, the rest built it together. And that's exactly what happened in November 1951. 24 Foochow entrepreneurs came together to launch their own bank, Hock Hua Bank,福华银行. Headquartered in Sibu, registered in Kuching. Why did it matter? Because back then, Sarawak was still under British rule. Timber was booming. Foochow merchants weren't just cutting trees, they were building dynasties. That's where names like the late Tan Sri Datuk Amar Ling Beng Siu, one of the men behind Hock Hua, come in. He was one of Sarawak's most powerful business figures at the time. Rumor has it that 当年这个家族在 Sarawak 可是呼风唤雨. Back then, this family could summon wind and rain in Sarawak.
Wow.
He had deep ties in timber, politics, and Chinese community organizations. In fact, he was among the key representatives of the Chinese community who signed the 1963 Malaysia Agreement, alongside other leaders representing their respective races. Most banks back then, foreign-owned, serving only the elites. But Chinese families needed banks that understood their reality, especially since many could only communicate in Foochow. So they built their own. Small loans, big trust. Lifelines for hawkers, farmers, and timber traders. For a while, the formula worked.
Yes!
Hock Hua thrived as the people's bank. But the world outside Sarawak was shifting. And politics, as always, had a way of catching up. And when Malaysia's political landscape changed after 1969, banking was never the same again.
What?
Shh. After the May 13 riots in 1969, Malaysia rolled out the new economic policy. Its mission, eliminate poverty, reduce racial inequality, achieve 30% Malay corporate ownership. Couldn't meet the 30% Bumiputra quota, you risk being swallowed up by bigger, politically connected banks. Chinese banks, especially the family-run ones, felt the pressure. Then in 1980s, the government introduced BAFIA, a sweeping law that gave Bank Negara and Finance Ministry full control over banking. Licenses, mergers, shareholding, all now in their hands. The rules of the game have changed. But Hock Hua wasn't about to fold. For over 30 years, they kept a low profile, growing slowly, cautiously. Malaysia's new economic policy meant Chinese capitals couldn't expand freely. Even in the mid-80s, their new subsidiaries were tiny in scale. Then in the late 80s, the tide turned. New branches opened, more services launched, Foochow networks fueled wildfire growth. The economy roared back, business confidence returned, and Malaysia's GDP hit double digits. Hock Hua caught the wave. In 1991, they stepped onto the big stage, the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange. Sarawak beamed with pride. Hock Hua was flying high, but just as they reached their peak, then came 1997, the Asian financial crisis. Businesses were collapsing. The government, worried about the banking system's stability, moved to consolidate all Malaysian banks. Officially, it was about protecting the economy. The whispered reason that some Chinese-controlled banks had too much power. Was it true? Maybe yes, maybe no. I was too young to know. So if you were there, spill the tea in the comments. I would love to hear it. Hock Hua tried to raise fresh capital to strengthen itself, but the crisis made it nearly impossible. Plans for bonus shares and new funding were quietly shelved. Even in its final year before merging with Public Bank, Hock Hua wasn't limping, it was thriving. In 1999, profits after tax topped 79 million ringgit, almost 50% higher than the year before, with shareholder funds nearing 781 million ringgit. Now, with inflation, that kind of money from the 90s will be worth a whole lot more today. That's a lot of money. A bank still making money, but no longer in control of its fate. By March 31st, 2001, Hock Hua Bank Berhad was fully acquired by Public Bank, quietly erased from Malaysia's financial map. No more local ownership, no more legacy, just memories, and maybe that old chubby mascot sitting on your mom's shelf. And just like that, a Sarawakian empire is gone. Today, only two Chinese majority banks remain in Malaysia, Public Bank and Homegrown Bank. Behind those logos are forgotten legacies. Names erased, power shifted, wealth redistributed. Quoting Sarawak Premier Bang Johari, remember who closed our banks. For our generation, the irony stings. In schools, we learn about heroes, but later heard whispers of the opposite. 简直怀疑人生. Sarawak's own Hock Hua was one of them. Once a symbol of future ambition and pride, now rarely mentioned. Rumor has it that the Ling family story ended in a bitter inheritance battle among siblings. And guess who won in the end? The lawyers. That was the talk of the town. As people used to say, beware the lawyers, bankers, and auditors. They always know the inside stories. Now where was I? Ah, yes. Some call it progress, some call it politics. Either way, the empire faded into silence. So next time you see that old chubby piggy bank, remember, it's not just a toy. It's the last echo of a Sarawakian empire that disappeared quietly. So besties, what do you think? Was Hock Hua Bank's fall inevitable, or could it have survived? Do you or your family still have memories from that era? We younger ones would love to hear your stories. The comment section is yours. And hey, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who remembers their childhood trip to Hock Hua Bank. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe for more inspiring stories and power plays here on the Playbook Diary. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep dreaming big. Bye, besties! Wow, that was intense. 这集写稿写到压力好大，因为是一代人的回忆。Let's see how it goes. 话说，真没想到上一集竟然大爆 ，10K views in 2 days, 20K views in 4 days, and like more than 250 legit comments. I mean, 当然也是有黑流量 but I mean, every creator has their own voice, and this is my voice. Those who stay will stay. 好呗，我累了，碎碎念就到这里，拜拜，拜拜 ，Steve。